Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of Gorkong, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about their companies. With us today, I'm happy to have him for the first time ever. Russ Rossi is president and CEO of Quizam Media, trades on the CSE under QQ, and for friends in the US, QQQFF. For those of you new to the story, this is what you need to know. Quantum One, because you see over his left shoulder, Quantum One Cannabis is a wholly owned subsidiary of Quizam Media. High quality cannabis products are being retailed. In the past 12 months, they've opened up stores in North Vancouver, Vernon, Grand Forks, Keremeos, Creston, and their 6th store flagship location was announced on February 15th, and that should be closing soon. What's that translate into? Quarterly revenue is accelerating. Last year, quarter ended November, $138,000. This November 20th, 2020, $954,000. Do the back of the napkin math. You see what their growth is like, but they're more than just a cannabis retailer. Let's find out about them. Russ, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, George, good to be here. We're in Vancouver, of course, and it's nice to talk to you. You're like 3,000 miles away in Toronto. I hope it's not snowy.
It is snowy, but we'll get you here just to make sure you don't miss it too much.
Beautiful, beautiful. Looking forward to it.
Listen, happy to have you here because as much fun as we're going to have, just that revenue acceleration year over year, or in that quarter ending November is fantastic. But before we talk about that, what I want to find out first is Quizam Medium as a company. How do you bridge from Quizam Medium to Quantum Cannabis?
Well, Quizam Media was a media company and a learning company, and we originally started just pre-cannabis legalization, doing a lot of cannabis education for the government, for the Liquor Control Board, for different agencies that were going through the migration of illegal cannabis to legal cannabis. So we're getting rid of the stigma. We're working on the different, there were a lot of falsehoods and a lot of mystery about cannabis. And we suddenly found ourselves pivoting from not just being an education center, but we saw some opportunities to get into retail. And we like the retail play because we have a lot of experience in management. We have a lot of experience with technology and tracking management. So all of a sudden, we find ourselves with 6, I guess we got 6 British Columbia licenses. We now have 5 locations up and running. And we're now running with a full team of thoroughbred stallions on a beautiful journey race of the cannabis retail, BC, dominating it as a footprint and being very successful with all of our rollouts.
Yeah, and that quarterly revenue number I talked about, $138,000 quarter ending November 2019, now $954,000. That's some pretty rapid growth there. What's the basis? Obviously, because you've opened up these 5 locations in the first 12 months. Is it safe to say that they're still accelerating, they're still coming up to speed and growing, but they're doing so well already?
They are. Every month is better. They're growing. Wait till you see our next quarter release, okay? A little bit of a hint foreplay there. I mean, we now have a fasten your seatbelt policy in our office. It's added to our dress code. Things are moving so fast. We're hiring new accountants. We're hiring new management. We're using our expertise with technology and monitoring and management, to supercharge the efficiencies of the cannabis retail play. It's super exciting, and we're really excited about it. And we have new opportunities. We're allowed to have 8 offices in BC right now, and we're at 5. I think we will have 8 by the end of the year. We of course can get into other offices in other provinces like Ontario, which is a target which we have on our radar. But yeah, I mean it's growing, and it's not just growing because of adding new stores. The revenues per month grow per store. I mean it is. So
you're getting both organic growth and you're getting new store growth. You're getting them both happening at the same time, which is
this is like the gold rush, the .com rush, the fax machine rush, the telephone rush. I mean, it is a new era where cannabis that for years has been illegal. People have been in the back alleys and closets doing it. It's now legal, and they're saying, hey, this is like similar to alcohol, where there's a lot of benefits to it. They can be used socially. You're not like a freak by being involved in cannabis, and that stigma is slowly disintegrating, thanks to companies like us. And the demand is increasing. And why do all the people that have been using for this many years, they rather go to a retail store where they know it's safe,
Absolutely.
Know exactly what the percentages are. It's very convenient. I mean, just look at how big the alcohol market has been over the last 80 years. Cannabis is going to mimic it, and it's billions of dollars.
And you guys aren't, in order to be growing that way, you're not just doing the standard, all right, George and Russ can open up a store, stock some shelves, hope people walk in. You guys are looking at Cannabis 2.0 products. I'm looking at candies, creams, drinks, right? What are you guys seeing there? Why that Cannabis 2.0 style of product?
Well, I mean, there's in the past, a lot of people that like cannabis always thought of cannabis as being like a joint or, a reefer or a roll. But cannabis is in a lot of other products. I mean, people are finding, there's people that don't like to smoke, but they enjoy either some of the medicinal benefits of cannabis, whether it's just the CBD or in some cases the THC. We find some clients are using it for sleeping. Others are using it for anxiety. You can take it in the edibles. You can have it as a drink. I mean, there is a whole arena of possibilities that are being explored and are being introduced to the market that I didn't realize. So now cannabis doesn't just mean smoking a joint. It means a whole array of other products.
And I got to admit, I fall into that category because I don't smoke. I've never smoked a cannabis, but I'm looking forward to drinks, for example, cannabis infused drinks, because I drink wine on the weekend or I drink some coolers by the pool on a Sunday. Why not try a cannabis infused drink? And that's what I like about what you're doing, because you're opening up your market to people like me who are not traditional cannabis users. Will probably never be. I don't see myself smoking it, but I would love to have it inside of these kind of products.
Yeah.
So
now, listen,
how do you guys pick these products though, Russ? Because how are you sourcing them to make sure they live up to your standards?
Well, I mean, it's very much. I mean, first of all, a lot of the suppliers send marketing pieces to our different teams. So we have a buyer's team, and we also have individual managers, at the store. So every store manager has a responsibility on our weekly meetings to talk about what the demands are, what people are looking for. So you'll find that, in one of the stores, let's say out in Keremeos, which is about 200 miles to the east of Vancouver, that city population likes to have maybe a different product than our North Van store, which is like, just basically downtown core Vancouver. And we put that input in. So we're responding to the demands of our clients. But on top of that, we get to look at everything we're buying everything that's available is off a website like Amazon for the BC Liquor and Cannabis Board. So we're able to look and see all the products that are coming out. And like any good retailer, you want to try different products. And you say, well, this looks interesting. Let's try this out. If it sells, we buy more. If it doesn't, we don't buy more. And we do replenish. And one of our stores, we buy product. I mean, we order twice a week, but at the very least, we order once a week. So you're forever updating your inventory. You're forever updating the products that are on the shelves. And of course, customers come in and say, hey, can you try this? Can you get that? And of course we get that. I mean, we have some clients like beverages, like you just mentioned. Others like candies or edibles. Others like chocolates for sleep. And then there are other ones that like the pre-rolls. Pre-rolls, which are like little joints. It's like a little package of cigarettes almost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, something like to come in.
Pre-rolled for you.
Yeah, we got a client. I mean, I'm not sure what some buy the maximum. There are limits that we're allowed to sell to a single person in a day, but there are people that come in once a week and they buy like, 5 packs of pre-rolls. There's 10 in the pack, and that's their fix every day. What they like to come in and get, every week, and they love the pre-rolls. So there's still the people that like the pre-rolls, but they just find it's a lot more convenient, like buying a pack of cigarettes versus rolling your own, right? So you're covering the whole gamut. And the other interesting thing about this is they're looking at legalizing some more of these drugs. I mean, right now they're talking about magic mushrooms, possibly, right? They're talking about other drugs that might want to legalize. Well, where do you think, what's going to be the conduit for these items as they come out? It's going to be through the existing cannabis shops, right? So that's a very interesting potential that could exist that could even make the market explode further.
Your product line is going to be expanding. And I'm a digital guy and I'm not a big fan of traditional retail, but the fact of the matter is the nature of the product you're selling almost demand that you have to have a retail location. Like a guy like me, the mass market isn't going to order all these products for the first time online. I want to be able to walk in, see it, ask questions about it 5 times over. And I guess that's where, because you guys really emphasize education. You're more than just a cannabis retailer, right? You really emphasize energy, education, and experience. So talk to me about that, because I know that's not just a tagline. I know that you guys really inject that into your retail locations. So talk to us about how that experience is different from me walking to one of your stores versus walking into George's Cannabis Shop.
If you go to our website, quizammedia.com, or if you are on our Instagram, there's often little posts that have little educational segments about different products and about cannabis and the edibles and the different lines you can go down. If you go to our website or go to our learning site, On Track TV, there's a whole cannabis section where you can learn about cannabis, about the history of cannabis, about the present day status of cannabis and where cannabis is going, where we think it might be going. So you can get educated that way. And that is our core business. Don't forget, that is our wheelhouse. I should say that was our wheelhouse before cannabis. We are experts in one of the biggest online training companies for the whole world. I mean, almost every Fortune 500 company has used us. And we continue to do training right now, but in Zoom rather than in person. I mean, we've got a 6,000 square foot facility downtown Vancouver with classrooms where people like BC Tel, British Airways, other clients send their personnel to get training. So training is our business. We know it. One of the things, how have we used that in our retail stores? Well, one of our differentiators is we make sure that everybody, all of our team in each of our stores is super knowledgeable and educated about cannabis. Some of them might have some of their own education, some of their own experience. But if they don't, we onboard them with a learning process that gives them some solid education and knowledge about the different products and about cannabis and cannabinoids and THC and CBD.
And that's such a big differentiator.
And it's big, and that's one of the things.
The better the customer.
You come to a Quantum One store, and number one, we're old school with the display. It's like jewelry counter displays. All our products are there. You can come behind glass, and you can see everything that's there, and you can get a full sense of what's available. And then you could talk to one of our team members, and they could explain each product. They could tell what the THC content is or what the CBD content is, and they know their product. So you're getting, and our number one, our mission statement is to give the best service in the world. Right? It always has been, to give the best service in the world. And we carry that forward with Quantum One. So you're going to come into Quantum One, and number one, you're going to get the best service in the world, which we all want to get. And number two, you're going to get some knowledge if you need it. And some, and not biased knowledge, just some objective information about any products you want to ask about.
So the 5 stores are going great. The 6th one you've announced is going to be your flagship. Talk to us about this flagship. Is it flagship because of its size, flagship because of its location? Because that's great when you're doing so well, 5 great stores, locations, and you're telling us number 6 is going to be our flagship.
Well, we have we're in play with a couple locations right now, but the locations that we're looking at in Vancouver right now are very they have no competition with that are nearby. They're high traffic areas. They're one of the biggest liquor stores in British Columbia is right across the street. So you have all of these metrics that we've looked at in terms of cannabis use, in terms of population, and they really fit the bill. North Van is our flagship, and the ones we're looking at, we think are going to be bigger than North Van. Okay, bigger population, bigger traffic, bigger foot traffic. And one of the things about BC is the BC government offers territory ownership for the different stores that we have. So unlike some of the other provinces, I mean, when you have a store, nobody can open up, within like 500 meters of you. Okay, so you own that whole territory, which is significant. Okay, and that helps, help protect the business and help reduce competition, which is unique. So we are opening in areas that have basically a protected area to be able to service any cannabis customers. Okay, little to no competition in each of the different zones.
What are the growth plans for 2020? So this will take you to number 6. You mentioned earlier hoping to get to 8. Is that the number for 2020 that you get to? And then what do the next couple of years look like?
You mean 2021?
2021. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm still thinking about that growth from the quarter from November 2020.
Yeah, so our goals for 2021 are to have all 8 stores in BC running. Okay, and that would look, that could put hypothetically, we do rely on safe harbor, but our goal in 21 is to be on track to between 15 and 21 million just from the cannabis stores in BC. We think by the end of 21, we could also be entering into some potential stores in the Ontario market, which we have been looking at loosely now. But we have our hands full with this. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew. Keep in mind, we're growing organically. So we're using profits to grow. That's helping to keep our dilution down. We're not doing any huge private placements. We have zero debt. So we're kind of a unique situation right now where we have positive cash flow and we are growing organically. That's only going to help our market cap in the end. And then getting in the end of 21 into 22, we have some significant operations we're looking at in the U.S. market, not the least of which is in California. Can't talk too much about that stuff.
How much of that is spurred on by the new Biden administration and thinking and
a lot. I mean,
friendly administration.
I mean, the Biden administration has been hinting that they want to legalize cannabis federally. And that can be a huge win for us, okay? There are so many banks, federal companies, US companies, even some Canadian banks that are dragging their feet because it's federally illegal in the US. And potentially, although it's never happened, there are some legal ramifications to going against federal law in the US. So that's kind of
and that's
putting the brakes on, puts the brakes on to a lot of avenues. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's going to happen to the Canadian cannabis stocks if the US market goes illegal. Right out of the gate, there's going to be at least 1,000 public companies eager to ramp up as fast as they can. And what does that mean? That means acquisition. That means roll up. What does that also mean? It means like 3-4 time market cap expansion of any Canadian CSE company that's in cannabis, because there just are none in the US. Very, very few.
Makes sense, but a lot of people don't see that. But the Americans are going to want to scale. There's this untapped either stock and cash just waiting for M&A that they can't use.
Exactly.
But they're busting at the seams. So, that's going to take a while. So, it'll probably take, I'm not sure if it's going to happen in 2021, but it sure might. But you're ramping up right at the perfect time.
I think we are 100%. I think you've seen some increase already to the Canadian cannabis stocks. And a lot of it is because of the U.S. The U.S. administration. They've always been pro-cannabis. I mean, there are many states in the U.S. that are pro-cannabis, but it's very logical that federally they will next because the administration is pro to doing that, and they're missing out some tax revenue. So why not do it? Heaven knows the budget in the U.S. needs as much revenue as they can get. So it would be it would make logical sense to go legal in the states. And that'll just dwarf the Canadian market. I mean, the investment money that's available in the States, the markets are huge compared to what we are in Canada. Okay. Yeah, we are pretty well the only public markets that are in cannabis right now, and that's a CSE.
Let me ask you something. A big part of, and maybe I'll wrap this up with this question because there's so much to talk about, but I think we've covered a lot. A big part of small cap at the beginning is, all right, sounds like a good business plan. George Com here, but who's George? Who are the guys there? Have they done this before, or is this just George thinking he can run a public company? And you've had some great success running operations for and talk to us a little bit about that, because I think everyone should know about you. And you don't have to go through the whole team, but it's definitely important for them to know that this isn't just a bunch of guys getting together in suits thinking they can pull this off.
We are a super seasoned team that has been involved with global operations in the IT business in the past. If you look at a series of businesses that I've been involved in for years, we started business organically, we grew them, we sold them. Okay, we've been running this public company for several years. We have a great administration team. We have great technology. I mean, we're an audited company. I mean, our accounting systems, our management systems, everything is paperless. We have written some of the most comprehensive client management systems for companies around the world. We're using that stuff. We're partnering some of the POS systems that we're using for Quantum, and we are partnering with our client management system. So we're measuring metrics. We're measuring ways to increase our market. It's a very, very it's a great time for managing expansion because it's all online, it's all controllable, and super scalable. I would say we're probably running right now at 15% potential. I mean, I could ramp up 5 times, and I would still we still have some depth. Okay, we've probably got in terms of our management team and our directors, we've got probably a combined 100 years of experience. Okay, and so The management side, the business side, the cash flow side, I mean, those are all very well solidified into our business DNA. It's a no-brainer, okay? We're now getting into the cannabis market, which is a retail play, and it's almost like an oligopoly where it's protected businesses. We're taking the experience that we have from our other businesses and we're slapping it on and can now be able to use that knowledge seamlessly so that we can expand our retail play with very little error, if any.
And that's not just theory, because I'm going to repeat, revenue's grown for the quarter ended November from 138,000 in 2019 to 950,000, 954,000 for the quarter in November 2020. 5 locations the past 12 months, 6 coming on, a couple more hopefully coming on in 2021.
Zero debt.
So
zero debt. Okay, so
yeah, that's fantastic, right?
We're
That's
not straddled.
great.
We did this all organically. We are not straddled.
Nor do you have 500. Nor do you have a ton of stock outstanding either, right?
Ton of stock. We may have to do a forward split, for heaven's sakes. All we got is 15 million shares. We're like little babies.
That's the unbelievable part, that you're able
one of
to
our
do
biggest,
all this
one of our biggest problems,
flooding the market with shares or racking up your debt.
We get called by the banks probably twice a month, just auditing, checking our cash deposits. They're going, why are you depositing so much cash? Why are you depositing? Why are revenues? So come and have a look. We'll show you why. I mean, it has really accelerated. So you got a business that, year one's doing 100 grand and year two is doing, 5 million. It makes their head spin a bit and they go, hey, what's going on? Of course, we're all licensed, we're all legal, everything's good. But this is a great business, and it's a great business. And if you manage it properly, it's an excellent business, okay?
Devil's advocate, competition though, it's going to be pretty fierce.
Competition is fierce. And one of the things that I explained earlier is that the BC government allows territorial rights. So it's not so easy. The bench or the obstacles to getting opened are pretty intense. Okay, you have to go through a very, very strict screening process. You have to find an area that is available that hasn't already got a development permit or other people trying to use it. You got to have some capital. You got to have probably $500,000 to $700,000 capital to be able to do the waiting while you're paying rent to get approved. Nobody gets in BC. It's a year to get approved. Our approvals took a year. Okay, and they're checking out, and and we're pretty squeaky clean. Being directors of companies,
even for each location, even now
they do it separate. They do it separately. It's crazy. I mean, even if you get one, they start from scratch every time. It's one of our bones of contention. We call government up sometimes, and even recently with the new one we're looking to acquire, they said, hey, do you have to check it from the beginning again? Yes, we do. Everyone from the beginning. That's what they do, and they charge you. I mean, the application is probably 200 pages, and they charge you $7,000 just to read it. So I mean, it is a bit of a money grab for the government. Don't blame them. They're trying to get some revenue.
That's why they did it. That's why they did it.
The barriers to entry. So if you look at pure competition's theory, barriers to entry are high. Okay, it's almost like an oligopoly. Okay, so I mean, it's not so much pure competition because you can't just go wherever you want, and it's hard to open. You got to have a provincial license. You got to have a municipal license. You got to have a federal license.
Okay, so it's not just
a driver's license, right? Got to have my. One time they even asked me if I have my license for being so good looking. I said, yeah, of course I do. So it was tough. I'm teasing. I didn't have it on me, but I know it's a lot of licenses, a lot of paperwork. Okay, and you get used to it, but you kind of see their point as well because they're trying to make sure that the criminal element doesn't get into it. But they've really gone overkill, and that's fine. Maybe that's what they want to do first. They want to maybe overstep. Maybe they're going to back away a little bit.
Well, that makes your business defensible too now, right? If you're location number one, that would be a real big hurdle for you. But you're gonna be up to location 6 pretty soon.
Well, I'll tell you as well too. I mean, we have some really tight controls. We're an audited company, so we've been through this for 8 years, and we know what is involved at your audit. Now, if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, when audit time comes, first of all, you'll be spending $10,000-$20,000 more dollars. Second of all, you may miss your deadlines. Third of all, you could get compliance or IROC or somebody all over you. So you really got to keep everything tight, okay? And that really helps. So when I look right now at the monumental task of running 5 stores with 35 staff and the kind of revenues we're doing, I mean, if you didn't know how to do that, that would be a daunting challenge, okay? And we know how to do that. Okay,
a walk in the park for you guys.
It's a walk in the
let's be
park. That
honest.
part's a walk in the park. If anything, not the struggle, but the challenge for us, which I think we've met quite well, is getting to know our product, getting to know the market, getting to know what sells, what doesn't sell. That, you know, how to stock it, how to keep it fresh, what we're looking at. So that was something that we weren't super acquainted with, but we are now. I mean, we've learned it, we've done it. But the backside, which we master, that could be difficult for someone that's not used to it.
And now, Russ, we're super acquainted with you. We're super acquainted with the company. It sounds great. The numbers speak for themselves. This is more than just lip service. The numbers in terms of quarterly growth, the numbers in terms of the store locations opened up the past 12 months, what's coming. Glad to have met you. Glad to have, helped put your story out there, and looking forward to having you back for the next one and the one after that and the one after that, because you guys are an unknown story right now, but I think that's going to change in due course here.
Thanks, George. Appreciate that. Lord Kelvin said once that if you don't know it in numbers, you don't know it. And that's what we subscribe to. I got to tell you, George, this is great work. Great work on this interview. This is the best interview yet. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for saying that. But hey, you make it easy, because when it's a good business, there's so much good stuff to talk about. If it's a bad business, then we're all stretching and grasping for straws, trying to find something to talk about. But thanks for making it easy. Look forward to having you back on the next one, my man.
Thanks, George. Have a great day.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast to Russ Rossi, President CEO of Quizam Media, trades on the CSE on the stock symbol QQ, and for friends of the US, QQQFF. The most important part of the company is Quantum Cannabis. You can see it right over his left shoulder there, and right on top, quantumcannabis.com. Go to those URLs. Do your due diligence. Trust me, you're going to get fantastic information there. Take a look at the quarterlies for yourself. They're filed. And take a look at the company's last press release, where they talked about opening their flagship location, and they've already got the 5 previous. You put that all together, that's some pretty good due diligence at a market cap. That's, not for me to say what it is, but I think when you see it, you're going to realize that it's pretty good value proposition for you. Just don't say 12 months from now we didn't tell you so, because we did. Have a great day. See you next time.